Well, thank you so much for joining us today on this next episode of Root Cause Solutions for You. It is my pleasure to have Christen Makan, who is a licensed massage therapist. And I'm going to let her introduce herself to you, and then we'll get started. Please go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you for having me. I am a licensed massage therapist. I went to school in Florida, where I still live. In 2009, I graduated from Cortiva Institute of Massage Therapy in Pinellas Park. And so I've been doing this for about 15 years. I took a little bit of a break in there, but I've still been working on family and friends. I am licensed to do relaxation massage, therapeutic massage, deep tissue, prenatal, and at one point neuromuscular therapy, which I still know. So a lot of that, like what I do, is basically just focused mostly around helping people feel better, finding out like what's actually causing the pain they're feeling or the discomfort or the lack of movement or whatever, and helping them to get back to a better operating state. So that's what I do. I love
Wow,
doing it.
that's awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's so cool. You have so many skills, right? So not just like pain management, but I love the prenatal one, and I definitely want us to talk about that because I think I did interview a chiropractor who I get from your area as well. She's in Clearwater, Dr. Jenny Lane,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the things she does is helps pregnant women and their babies. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes, this is like we're on a theme here. That's so awesome. So what led you to be on this path as far as massage therapy for you?
Actually, it's actually pretty funny. When I first moved here, my first job was doing tech support for a company that did
Okay.
chiropractic billing, like, and management software. So whenever I had a break, I would go and give everyone shoulder massages. And they'd all be like, oh, you're so good at this. You need to go to school and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah. And then I actually ended up, like, I was doing it wrong. Like, I was using my thumbs way too much. So I went up and got my first
Gotcha.
massage. And the woman was amazing. And she just seemed to know all this stuff. And I was like, this is cool. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I will go to school for this. And I did. But yeah,
Oh
it
my
was,
gosh, that is so awesome.
so
That's
yeah.
so cool. Yes, it's sometimes the little signs, right? The little things that we don't even think about or have planned. Like, oh my gosh, I'm 8 years old and I know what I want to do. Kind of.
Yeah, that was nope. I was always like, I don't know what I want to do with my life. But the more I did it, like when I was in school, that's when I really was like, oh, okay, maybe this is my purpose, because I just get so much like joy, and it's just so comfortable to be able to help people. And it's like I can talk to their bodies, which sounds really weird probably, but it just like, I know what's happening. And I'm like, oh, it wants blah. And they're like, okay. And then they're like, oh yeah, that worked. And I'm like, yeah, it did.
Oh my God. That is so awesome. I love that. I love that. I've never heard a massage therapist say I can, like talk to the body and the body talks to you too, right? Because I'm sure if you ask or a specific question, if you're touching a specific muscle or, touching a specific reflex, it gives you an answer. So that's awesome. Um,
It's kind of like
so
that.
one of That's so cool. So one of the things that I think is so misunderstood about massages is that we often look at them as like a luxury or we're pampering or, we often think, oh, I'm so stressed. I'm going to go and get a massage. And well, that is definitely not incorrect. I often think that we forget on a key word here, which is therapy. So I was wondering if you could tell us about more how do we expand our comprehension of what truly a massage therapy can do for us.
That's a very good point. Basically, I guess it's hard for people to understand that, if what I found is a lot of people don't even know. Like, they don't even know that something isn't functioning. Like, I had one guy who like he knew he needed massages. Like he's like, yeah, my back hurts and everything's really tight. My neck isn't really moving. I've had this lump in my calf for like months or weeks or years or whatever, or a long time. And
Hmm.
I start working on him, and he's like, oh, this, I didn't realize that was hurting, or like that wasn't working, or like the more I worked on him, the more his awareness came up. So like that's one thing, is that I think a lot of people, they just go, I need to keep going. And so they just kind of like shove all the little aches and pains aside, and they don't realize that that there's even anything to do there, like to handle. So if I think once they start getting massages, then they start going, oh, maybe there's like something, like maybe there's something to this. Maybe I could function better. Maybe I don't have to have this pain all the time. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's so true. And I feel like, like I, as a practitioner, often working with clients who are either going through a mold detox journey, or a heavy metals, or um, chemicals, and even addressing food sensitivities, right? Like you name it. It's so important to use other modalities other than the technique that I use, which is muscle testing, applied kinesiology. And I've seen such an improvement from partnering with massage therapists, because it really gets the fascia right. Like I do, there's been so much um, awareness now as to how fascia can definitely hold onto trauma. And as we are detoxing, then we want to release that trauma, right? We want to release whatever might be stuck in there. And I feel like such a great tool as massage therapy can definitely help someone do that. No,
absolutely.
that's so awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about the prenatal massages? I am super curious about that. I don't want to forget to ask that question.
Um, they're actually like, really the major difference is there is, I have women like on their side. Obviously, they can't lay on their stomach unless they have a table like Dr. Jenny's, where she's got it made specifically for them to be able to do that. But
Hmm.
I basically have them on one side or another. You can pretty much do a massage on a pregnant woman. Like there's a lot of people that are afraid. Like they're like, oh, I don't want to put them in labor, and like there's all these myths. This is one of the things that we went over when I
Hmm.
took the class to get certified. There's a lot of myths about working on pregnant women.
Uh-huh.
And yes, you do. So you do have to like take the responsibility and be like, okay, whatever happens, it's on me. That's true, but it's like there's nothing's really going to happen. Like I've worked on pregnant women
Wow.
early trimester. I've worked on like right before they went into labor. Um, I've never like put somebody in labor prematurely. There's one woman that it may have helped her go into labor, but it was like she was in her window, so it was totally fine. Yeah, like, but yeah, we learn the pressure points of the things that could possibly cause labor, but like you have to hit all of them, like, and you got to hit them
Yeah.
hard to really like make somebody go into labor, as like in my from what I've learned, like in my observation. But yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
great for them.
Yeah.
Doing a lot of work on the hips, because like every pregnant woman will tell you, like my hips are killing me. Like I'm 7 months pregnant right now, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I have a complete reality with every pregnant woman I work on. I'm like, oh girl, I know. And they're like, oh, I love your massages, and I'm like, that's because I know it hurts.
Oh my gosh, that is so awesome. Yeah, because I think again, depending on, or it really doesn't matter what a person might be going through. I really have come to appreciate massage therapy, not only personally, right, and but also as a practitioner. And I think most of us, may be like, oh gosh, a massage, like getting it every week. Sometimes some of us may need to go to see our massage therapist every week, right? Depending on what may be going on, or every other week.
Yeah,
And sometimes that may the price of it might be like, oh gosh, I don't want to pay for this every week or every other week or whatever. But I think it's just I think from my perspective and my clinical experience, you save money, because if you're eating well, if you're taking your supplements as directed, and you're using all these other modalities, your body will actually heal and repair at the wanted rate that your body wants to heal and repair. So it's, to me, in the long run, you are actually saving money. You're getting better. You're not lengthening your care, right? And now obviously one could say, well, a little bit is better than nothing, and well, that might be true. I think, just like anything, again, focusing on the word therapy, um, you will want to do that on a consistent basis. And what do you think about that? What's your take on that?
Yeah, I agree. I have noticed there are a few people that I've been seeing either every week or every other week, but like consistently, and I can see the change in them. And I have one woman that she almost died from COVID a couple of years ago. She's in the hospital on the ventilator, like the whole 9 yards, and she
Wow.
came out of the hospital like unable to move, and she decided to, among other things that she was doing, one of her things that she swears by is she got 2 hour massages twice a week, and she still does that. Like she
Wow.
was doing it with somebody else then, and now she's doing it with me. She's been doing it with me for 6 months, and I can see like she's a very determined woman, so like there is that. But she's come really far. Like she's doing all this stuff, and she's just still back to going, and she like
Yeah.
almost died. So I mean, she's like, yeah, if I didn't have my massages, forget it. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah,
Wow. Oh my gosh. No, that's so awesome. So, out of all the different, little specialties, right, that you do, is there one that's your favorite? Is one that you're like, oh, I'm passionate about working with people on pain management or prenatal, or is yeah.
I mean, I do like doing all of it, but I love like when I love figuring out like what came first, like what's the first thing to handle. Like when somebody's like, oh, like I had a lady that came in and she's like, what did she say? She had pain like radiating up from her cat, like into her hips. And so she had gone to somebody else and they
Uh-huh.
focused on her hips. And I was like, from looking at you, and you like as soon as you start talking, I thought calves. And she's like, me too. And I was like, well, let's try that. So we start with her calves, and she's like, oh yeah, like yeah, that definitely helped. And I was like, yes, like I love like finding the actual like the root cause of something,
Yeah.
if you will.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's so awesome. And I think your years of experience, maybe when you even see someone's posture, right? Or how what someone may be having health concerns about, your mind probably starts to go, okay, this is what we need to work on.
Yep. I
That's
start
so
doing one of
awesome. That's
these.
so,
I get back and I like start looking at them. You see your shoulders. Let me see this. Like,
yeah.
turn around. Like,
That's
do
so
you feel
great.
like you're standing straight right now? Okay, good.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. That's so awesome. No, and I love it, like, I think finding something that we are passionate about and doing it for a long time, it's so rewarding, right? And about helping others regain their health. And I love it when a client comes back and they tell me, "Hey, I've been constipated and now have regular bowel movements," and I'm like, yay. And those are like the
Yes.
weird things that us as practitioners get to celebrate. So that's so awesome. I was wondering if you would be willing to share some, like, techniques or exercises or little things that people may do, per se, like about lower back aches. Like, I think a lot of people do suffer of lower back pain.
Yeah, that is something that I do a lot of. I actually, one thing that I do that I don't know if everybody really does, from what I've seen, people are
Yeah.
kind of afraid to work on like the glutes or like, and I just get in there and I'm just like, this is the biggest postural muscle in your body. It takes so much stress, and like that's one of the big like contributors to lower back pain. And my aunt is also actually a massage therapist, and she showed me a stretch where you put your foot on your knee, the opposite knee. I don't know
Uh-huh.
if yeah, I actually can't use my stomach muscles, but I forget what it's called, but you basically put your leg on your knee, kind of like this, and you use that knee to bring the opposite leg up. and that will
Okay.
stretch the whole, like the back, the
Mm.
hamstring, which is another contributor to lower back pain, and the glutes and piriformis and all that stuff. But that I actually did that. I used that one because I used to have like pretty bad lower back pain too.
Uh-huh.
So that was a good one. The child's pose is amazing, like the yoga
Oh,
pose.
yeah.
Um, what else? I like massage wise, like these muscles back here that are on either side of your spine. They're called
Oh, yeah, yeah,
quadratus.
yeah.
Yeah, quadratus lumborum or QL. You might hear some therapists say those are
Okay.
like huge. And I'll get into those, and people are like, "Wow, I didn't even know that those hurt." And I'm like, "Yeah." And you can do it on yourself. You can have like if you can have like your husband or whatever dig into them, and it's amazing. And I've also been seeing a lot with the front of the hips. Um,
Oh,
there's a muscle called psoas, which is like I've run across more and more people now that know that one because they have it all dysfunctionalized, and somebody told them what it was
yeah.
called. But that's a huge one because we all sit in chairs nowadays for long periods of time, and we're like on computers and we're like doing this. Um,
Yeah. Or on our phones, right? Like holding
yep.
our phones. Yeah.
But yeah, like
Yeah.
those are the
Wow.
main things
I'm
that
gonna
I've seen.
That's awesome. I'm gonna have to try some of those.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So I was wondering, so for like, like when you work with someone with chronic pain, right? And chronic inflammation,
Mm,
because I as a practitioner, I also see a lot of that. Again, as people are working on mold detox, parasites, all that stuff, we're it's just innately the body's like getting all this lactic acid built up, right? And exercise and gosh, all the kind of detox therapies. And so I was wondering if you could yeah, like let us expand a little bit on chronic pain, inflammation, and how massage therapy would be a great tool to support someone's um lymphatic drainage and stuff like that.
yeah, I mean, it is a great tool. There is obviously like lymphatic massage, which is something I'm not personally certified in,
Mhm.
but that is like that's a good gentle way of like getting the body flowing in the right direction. When I do massage, I
Yeah.
do keep in mind the like where the limb like there's in the armpits, in the groin, in the neck. Like there's places where you want to put. When I work towards those areas, and I start closer
Hmm.
to make sure that the like closer to the drain is like freed up first, so there's somewhere for it all to go. And that's one actually huge thing with people that do detoxes is I think sometimes people do not make sure there's somewhere for the stuff to go. So that's like a really important
Yeah.
step because if you start detoxing and everything's blocked, then it's just going to like, bleh. I've seen that happen. It's
Yeah.
no fun. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
But so I do try to do that whenever and I see a lot, I see like more than I thought when I started, a lot of inflammation, like in places
Yeah.
like in like necks and backs, like in people's backs. I'm going like this, and I'm like, wow, this is actually inflamed. It's not acute. It's not like on fire right now, but like there's like extra fluid and like just stuff kind of like sitting there. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then, yeah, a
Yeah.
big thing
Wow.
with massage is flows, like getting things moving, getting things moved toward the drains of the body, and getting the like the circulatory system in motion because a lot of
Yeah.
people have it stagnant again from sitting a lot or whatever.
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, you're right. Like we do a detox program either with a practitioner or on our own with a TV commercial or whatever, right? And it's leading us to that to
Yeah.
to that path. And then but you're right, making sure that all the drainage pathways, right? Which I um uh during my education and training, we think of like bowel movements, right, are a huge component of drainage pathways,
Yep.
and liver function, um lymphatic, right, system, and even mitochondria, like all these different things that definitely contribute to yeah, opening those channels. Because you're right, if we are backed up, that stuff's got to go somewhere. And and it may not be right. You're like thinking you're doing, oh my gosh, I'm doing toxin, and then you're not feeling well because those pathways that you just were mentioning are stuck, right? And they're like,
Yeah,
yeah, we got to make sure that stuff can go towards the right direction. And so thank you for going over that.
sure.
um what about if I'm trying to remember everything you listed at the beginning, everything that you do. So you prenatal, prenatal, pain management, I think is something you mentioned, or
Yeah,
something
I
similar to
do
that.
like therapeutic. Like basically, when I do a massage, I don't like people come in and they're like, they just kind of tell me like what's bothering them, or I just have them lay down because I'm like, don't even worry about telling me. I'll figure it out. And
Yeah,
so it's a mix. It's like I try, if the body is not, if the body doesn't trust me or it's not relaxed enough to show me what's happening, then so I do, like I use
interesting.
the tools of relaxation in pretty much every massage. I use the tools of like neuromuscular, or like finding trigger points, like
Mm,
spots where you push on it and they're like, oh my God, like, oh, what is that? It's it's like a bunch of built up lactic acid. It's a stuck
yeah,
flow. It's a like something that sometimes you got to use static pressure to make it let go.
yeah,
But I don't like attack. Like I don't like some, and when I was in school they'd say helging somebody, like getting there with your immediately with your elbows and like just like pounding on people. Like I don't do that.
yeah.
um I just kind of basically get the body to trust me. um Find, have it show me the things that are like, where are the areas that are not functioning. And I just kind of like, between the trigger points and like just the continuous like repetition of like moving, okay good, we're going to move stuff toward the drain, we're going to keep going this way,
Yeah,
eventually like things just relax and let go.
that's
And
awesome.
that's kind of how
Yeah,
I do it.
yeah, no, that's so great. And I think that kind of like brings back the concept of this is why it's a therapy, right? This is not why it is just something you kind of do every so often,
Yeah,
or whenever you have time, right? It's really something that when the consistency of it, yeah, you get that the body to continue to give you more information and communicate, and then you can then kind of design a plan for that specific person's care, right? So no, that's thank you for going over that. Now, my I know my massage therapist always tells me lots of water after your massage, and I will be honest, sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. But I wanted if you could help us understand better as to why that would be, and for some of us who unfortunately might not be as compliant as we should be.
oh yeah, and I totally understand, sometimes you really don't feel like it. I'm lucky enough to live in Florida, so I'm like, look guys, it's hot outside, you're thirsty, just drink water instead of Coke, like, it's not that hard. Not that, I mean, not that
Right?
everybody does that,
Yes.
but yeah. So
Yeah.
basically, if you can, like we were talking about the detoxing, so and the detox pathways and all that
Mhm.
stuff. So when you do massage, you're stirring things up. You are like, when you break up a knot, you're like putting lactic acid back into the bloodstream, and toxins and waste product and like all this stuff. And if you don't drink water, that stuff will just go right back into your muscles or into your organs. So you do want to definitely make sure you're drinking water, and not because you want to pee that out. Like you want to get rid of all that stuff so it doesn't go back.
Wow. Yeah. You're right. You just spend 90 minutes, 60 minutes on your massage. You made the financial commitment. And now if you don't drink water, you're like, hey, just drink your
Exactly.
water, right?
It's it's protecting your
That's awesome.
investment to drink enough water.
Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh. That's such a great concept. What's your take on, like, should it just be like, nice, filtered water, ideally not tap water, right? But what about like minerals? Should we be concerned about putting minerals back into the system after a massage?
I think so. And drinking enough water and making sure, yeah, that it's that you put your minerals back in, because all, and also like electrolytes and all that stuff, because
Yeah.
the point of electrolytes is to make your body use the water. If like you can drink all the water you want, but if you don't have enough salts, your
Mhm.
body's not going to hold on to it long enough to put it where it needs to go. And if you don't have enough
Yeah.
potassium, your body's not going to let it go. It's just going to keep, you're going to retain water. So it's like definitely making sure, like I drink RO water because I just, that's what I can get easily. But then I also make sure that like I'm putting Himalayan salt or Celtic sea salt or like just something to, or doing electrolytes or whatever to just, because
Yeah.
otherwise, yeah, I don't, it's like I get tired of the water. I feel like just that's my personal
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I struggle with water too. And so yeah, my husband is always on me, do you drink your water? And I'm like, I'm getting to it. So yes, yes, but added minerals definitely makes a huge difference where you know one of some of my favorite brands for electrolytes would be Relight from Redmond. They're pretty good, in flavor. They're flavored with stevia. If stevia is just something that a person might be sensitive to, then they do have a just a plain, unflavored um formula. And they also have salt, like the real salt, which is what I typically do. But yeah, like you mentioned, Celtic salt or pink Himalayan salt, good quality of it, of course. And then I like Dr. Price as well, which
Yeah.
I've heard my husband loves that one. So, well, no, thank you so much for explaining that, because it does makes us appreciate more why we need to drink water and the importance of minerals after that. Awesome. And so I guess, well, I have to share this because it was in my mind when you were talking about, like being gentle and kind of not working someone over too hard. And I don't know if you're familiar with the TV show Friends.
The, I'm the one person that like didn't watch Friends, unfortunately, but I'm familiar with the
Oh my
characters, I think.
God. I, No worries. When you were describing, that, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's like, don't be Ross Geller, right? Like, don't just put a lot of pressure on, or don't use. He uses like wooden spoons to
Oh man.
massage this gentleman. Oh my god, you should, if you don't have to watch the whole series, but at least watch that little clip. You'll get a kick out of it.
I'm sure I can find it on YouTube, yeah.
Oh yes. Yeah, it's probably a meme somewhere. So if I want to come down to Florida now, I'm in upstate New York and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need a massage. I need to make an appointment. So if someone were to say, oh my gosh, I'm ready for my start my journey with you, how would someone go about getting in touch with you, providing they're in the area?
So I do have a Facebook page. It's just my name, Christen Makan, LMT for licensed massage
Mhm.
therapist. Um, and I have a website on Massage Book, which is, I guess, my husband found it for me. It's, I guess it's kind of like Facebook, but for massage, and you can just find practitioners. So I'm on there. I have the link to it on my Facebook page also. And my phone number is like all over like it's all over my Facebook page, and but people can just text me or message me or whatever. Sometimes people call me and I'm like in a massage, so like texting me is usually like the most guaranteed way. Yeah,
Um, Yeah, so we will make sure to put those links on the comments of the once we post this interview, so that everyone who hopefully we reach, enough people everywhere. And if so and so happens to listen in another state, but they have a friend, where you are, hopefully, a word of mouth referral type. Well, that's awesome. I feel like we covered so much. So we cover,
yeah,
the importance of drinking water after massage, the importance of not just thinking is something about, oh, it's pampering, right? Or it's a luxury, or only something you do once a year for your birthday. But it's like the therapy and the therapeutic aspect of it. And prenatals, chronic inflammation, chronic pain, and all the different specialties. Like that was so cool. So I really appreciate you being here with us this afternoon and sharing your journey as a massage therapist and everything that you can offer for us and that you are offering and how you're helping your clients in the community. Yeah, so for without making this interview any longer, I tend to talk a lot, so I really appreciate you being here today, and we'll catch everyone next time. Thank you everyone for joining us. We hope you learned a lot. If there are any other topics, health topics that you'd like to talk about, for us to talk about, please let us know, make a comment, send us an email, and we'll make sure to provide some of that information. Until next time.